There were aspects of my marriage with their dad that had deteriorated to the point of being dangerous. And as I had said, my youngest son, witnessed him choking me. Years later, and my youngest son went through a whole bunch of trauma for a lot of years, and had an addiction problem, and was a severe alcoholic, and fought through it. And then that's his story. That fought through a lot. But one of the things he witnessed at 6 years old was his dad choking me. And like I said, I don't want to sit and play the blame game. I had been past it for years, because I was just as much to blame, if not more to blame. And my kids saw this AOL situation, and their dad said that their mom had done this horrible thing, and so they saw this AOL situation, and that's the way it looked, and that's the way it was. I paid a huge price for going off and doing this, and for a long time I wouldn't forgive myself. Like, for a long time, there wasn't a bigger critic than myself. I was very angry with myself, because witnesses don't get a divorce, and I got a divorce, and then I spiraled into this. And so to get back to what my therapist had to say about it, is that I had survived my father. I had survived my first husband for 18 months. And I had survived these really horrific things, and I had not got to deal with them, because in our generation and in the witness system that I was in, I didn't deal with any of it. And I didn't get to do more than survive. So when I started going to college and taking all these sociology classes, I got to also take psychology classes, and I got to start realizing what had happened and start healing. And I got to go spend 2.5 years talking to my first therapist, and she told me that dissociative thing, where I felt like there was a whole wall of water, like a big waterfall behind my head, that was going to come crashing down on me with all this stuff that I had pushed back there. She said when we got done, I would no longer feel like I had to stare at people's mouths, and she was right. I got to a place where I felt grounded and centered, and I studied a lot of shamanic type things, like the house and the crystal room, and I started healing these fractured parts of me and bringing them together to heal each other and heal the children that had broken off and were still in there, terrified of what was going to happen, and to help realize that nobody was ever going to harm us again. And when I got to that, and I also got to the place where I knew I had to walk away after 11 years of this trauma bond that I had formed, no matter what it did to me. And it took a long time to heal. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. It was the most difficult. It broke me. It made my world come crashing down. I literally went from feeling grounded and in spite of all the terror, and feeling like I had the power to heal myself, to my world turning technicolored, like literally. The grief was unbearable. The grief was, it broke me. It didn't just almost break me, it broke me. And I had to find a way to mend from that every single day. I wanted to drive my car off a cliff. The pain was so horrific. I wanted to drive my car off a cliff, and it was not the legacy I was going to leave my kids. I couldn't stay, no matter how much I loved him or how much I thought we had something special, because it was never going to get better. It had left me with nothing to heal with. I had spent all my time surviving it, and it had left me with nothing. And that's why I get into these podcasts about, you get to a place where you have no energy to even make a plan, more or less execute a plan.